Alright, we got a lot to do today. So let's cover the basics. Oh, no, I have to jump. I forgot. I took a couple polls since the fried chicken episode, and one of the things that keeps getting asked about was the schnitzel. So for episode 8 for our team challenge, so we had to play a game where we rolled dice, and whatever letter came up, we had to come up with an ingredient. And our team got haricot vert, pork chops, serranos, honey, and celery root. So those 5 things, we had to make a dish, 45 minutes. These, I call them basket challenges, are my favorite. I could wake up and do this stuff every single day. These competition walkthroughs, I love doing. So if you like this format, if you like this episode, please let me know in the comments. Definitely subscribe, hit all the buttons. This is created by Cody. Welcome back to the Tasteless Chef episode 3. We are about to get into the pork schnitzel from Hell's Kitchen. Yeah, that's enough. That's enough. That's good. Yeah, okay, that's good. So first we'll get our pickling liquid going. We're gonna do a bread and butter pickle. The moment I saw the honey, I thought it'd be perfect for it. And the technique that we're gonna use is just gonna be a perfect streamline for this competition cooking setting. The ratio is basically 2 part vinegar, 2 part ice, 1 part sugar, and 1/3 part salt. Combine your vinegar, sugar, and salt and bring up to a boil. To this we're gonna add crushed garlic, shallot, and black peppercorn. You don't have to worry about peeling these because we're just going to strain this once this gets to a nice reduced form. And so this takes care of the base of your pickling liquid. From here we just have to get our actual vegetables ready. So in the dish we got serrano and haricot vert. Nice choice on that one, Cody. Good job. So this will be our pickle mise, aka pickles. Our objective with these is to leave them slightly whole. This gives us a lot more control when it comes time to use these in different ingredients throughout the dish. And especially in a competition setting, you just don't want to limit yourself down the line. So we're just going to treat these super basic, leave these in a bit more of a rough cut situation, and just get them into a bowl. With the green beans, we're going to use a heavy bias and cut them on a real big diagonal. Structurally, this is going to add height when we're building our dish down the line. And then with the pickling liquid, when you start to see these clusters of bubbles where they're really sticking to each other, that level of mobility tells you that the vinegar and the sugar have combined. And it's reduced to the point where it's ready to go. Strain that over, add your ice, cover, and reserve. On to the next one. Herbs for your salad. For this particular one, you definitely want more height than anything. So for the green onions, we're gonna stack these joints and try to get as long of a diagonal as we can. In kitchens, we call this a bias cut, or cutting something on the bias. And similar to the green beans, what we want to achieve here is when we go to make our build later, all these long obtuse shapes are gonna allow us to get height. And with height, we can get structure. That way we can space our ingredients out more and make them more presentable and noticeable. 100% not necessary. I just wanted to see what it feels like to be Dexter. I'm gonna fold this up and use it for something else. I like to use a plastic bag for this. Because we have to pound this out, we want to cover it with something. That way upon impact, it's not splattering your whole house with porky business. And that way you can kind of control the impact and the spread a bit more. So for this, you just want to get anything that's like kind of heavy and flat. So obviously a mallet would be ideal, but you can use an old olive oil bottle or wine bottle or something like that. Or your childhood guitar. That sounds like a really good idea. Bang. I'm gonna use an olive oil bottle. I'm gonna drop it first. God, I'm good at that. While you're doing this, just make sure to keep a flat impact. You know, when it's coming down and making contact, it's fully horizontal. If you come at an angle, you risk puncturing it, and you definitely don't want that. Your final product should be very even, flat. And if you're using something that has a bone in it, obviously you want to make sure not to splinter around those areas. From here, you just want to cover it, give it a nice little respectful slap, and get it in the refrigerator to cool down. From here, we're going to set up our breading. We're going to start with a standard triple breading system of flour, egg wash, and then breadcrumbs. The flour is just seasoned with toasted coriander and black peppercorns, some sage, and rosemary. The eggs, if you don't spill flour in it, you just want to gently beat these up. You don't want to over whip them. It'll give you more of a fluffy product. And the more separation, the better. And then for the panko, the flour situation, I did 50-50 panko to Parmesan. Not traditional for a schnitzel. Normally you would just do breadcrumb and it gives you that kind of like nice separated crust. But because this is a competition and you never know where in the judging you're going to end up, how long your food's going to sit, I knew that the Parmesan would give me a bit more time, more of an elastic crust. So once that's done, just pop that in the fridge and you gotta work on your mustard seeds. These we gotta blanch first. The mustard seeds are super high in lecithin, which basically anything high in water content, it's gonna make everything really stick together. And for what I wanna use it for, I don't want it to be crazy adhesive. So I blanched it first, strained it, add in the pickling liquid, cook that down until it's a syrup, add in some of your pickled vegetables, and you have pickled mustard seeds. All right, now we gotta get our mandolin situation going. Celery root for the chips. That's actually a parsnip. I couldn't find celery root. I'm sorry. So these just as thin as possible. We're gonna fry those in clarified butter, and the carrots for our salad. Once you get this to the right level of thinosity, whichever term, these are just gonna go into some cold water. We want these to curl up as much as possible. So putting them in ice water is just gonna make them more bendy. Now I put salt in them in the show. I don't really know why. You don't really need it, but you know, whatever. Stir it so the salt incorporates for no reason. Use that parsnip. Use little tongs. Little tongs are scientifically proven to make things taste better. And then with clarified butter at 330 degrees, we're gonna fry off our celery root, parsnip, chip situations. Fry them a little bit under because they'll continue to color as they come out. And then it's schnitzel time. You should be about halfway through your competition cooking time at this point. Heat clarified butter up in a pan large enough to fit your little baby. Skim off any sort of like foamage and then bring it up to high heat. And then one thing always to keep in mind with any sort of high heat fat situation is when you're putting something into oil, make sure you're doing it away from yourself just to mitigate splashing. And then medium high heat, cook that for about 3 to 4 minutes on one side, turn it over and then continue. Jostle it from time to time to make sure that the hot butter is going over top. And then from there, about 8 minutes in, add in your garlic, herbs, and really pay attention to this point. Once you've added your herbs, you want to make sure that you're jostling it often, that way that flavored butter is really coating it. And it also ensures that we're getting some heat transfer from the bottom to the top pretty evenly. From there, you want to rest it for half the cooking time. And then the finish line is here. My rule for competitions is I don't start plating before 5 minutes. So at 7 minutes, I clean my station, I make sure all my mise is organized, and then from there, I station out exactly what I'm gonna use for the plate. So once everything is nice and organized, I'm gonna start to build my salad. Some of the pickled vegetables, all the herbs, carrots, then add in the green onion, then remind yourself that you're an absolute beast and a dog for getting all this prep done and making a pickle in the middle of a competition. Dress it with some shallot, some of the pickling liquid. The pickling liquid, because this dispersed through all the leaves, just make sure that no leaf is without flavor. A little bit of a dressing made with olive oil and the pickling liquid. Toss this baby together. Check it for seasoning, salt and pepper mainly. If it needs more acid, you can add more of the pickling liquid. And for this, especially in the competition, this is not a very slice-friendly environment, so I only cut it just to be able to display the bone. And then technique-wise for the salad, layering is crucial here. And although it seems silly because it's just a salad, utilizing the different heights and shapes with all these ingredients basically allows you to achieve like a more visual availability. This is how I achieve what I call the I Spy effect, where you create something that's obviously identifiable like a salad, but highlighting these pivot points to the point where the eye constantly has to wander and always has something new to look at. And then boom, your bajillion component dish is done. Your 45-minute timer is done. Gordon Ramsay's about to eat this and tell you that you're dope and an absolute unit and kind of cool. And then yeah, clean down your station. If you're not competing and you just made this, then make yourself a beverage and sit down and enjoy yourself. Hopefully you're making it for somebody that you care about, because this dish has a bajillion components and it's a lot of work. And hopefully you have more than 45 minutes to make it for your own mental health. Regardless, whether it's welcome to or welcome back, thanks for stopping by Created by Cody. This was episode 3 of The Tasteless Chef. We just made my competition pork schnitzel, and it was really good. I really enjoy doing these kinds of like competition review situations. So if you do like this format, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you'd like to see next time. Like, subscribe, hit all the buttons, and like always, go be great.